Hey everyone, welcome to Strange Stories, where we explore near-death experiences and supernatural stories from people who've had a glimpse of the other side. If you enjoy our content, please consider liking the video and subscribing to our channel. Without further ado, let's get to the story of the day. Following a lifetime of physical and emotional abuse, I went on a spiritual journey in May 2017 in an attempt to make a good change and overcome a lifetime of sadness and anxiety. My path began with a Reiki course and moved to the Holistic Healing College in London, where I'm currently pursuing my spiritual life coaching credential. During this journey, I left my spouse in an emotionally abusive relationship, reconnected with my mother, and launched my own holistic healing practice. In September 2017, I traveled to Croatia on a Nielsen sporting vacation with my mother and stepfather. I sailed around St. Lucia with my folks shortly after, in November. On a personal level, I was maturing and diving into all the things spiritual. But two aspects of the global constitution that I couldn't fully grasp were letting go and believing in my own strength and talents to produce the life I sought. Despite the noticeable improvement in my self-esteem, I still struggled with self-confidence and self-esteem issues. My life was improving, and my feelings of depression and anxiety were no longer prevalent. I was also tapering down my medicine. In May 2018, shortly after my birthday, I received a call from my mother asking if I would be available to attend a free week in Croatia on a Nielsen trip beginning June 3rd. I was overjoyed, and after consulting with my supervisor, I informed my mother that I would be able to go. I started getting ready for the upcoming vacation. We were able to take this trip for free because we made friends with the tennis coach in September of 2017. Because the resort had undergone some repairs, the staff were allowed to invite friends and family for free to test the improvements and provide comments before the resort opened to the public in the coming weeks. This was the game's first perfect and divine intervention. On June 5th, just 2 days into our trip, we were approached by the tennis coach who asked if we wanted another free week in Croatia because there were additional seats available the next week. He could just rearrange our flights because we were already there. I was overjoyed, yet nervous, because I wasn't sure if my job would allow me to take extra time off. My boss's response to my request was straightforward: my exercise class. I remember sprinting down the path to the fitness deck and putting out my mat in preparation for the exercise class. My stepfather agreed to accompany me. I hugged him and congratulated him on his win before we began. The music began to play, and we were off performing burpees for a set amount of time. The sun was shining down on us, and I recall feeling energized and satisfied with my life. I felt fortunate to be having such a lovely time at no cost to myself or my family. Suddenly and unexpectedly, I became acutely aware of searing pain in the back of my skull. It was an ache unlike anything I'd ever felt before. As I collapsed on the floor in pain, the entire world seemed to slow down around me, and I couldn't make sense of the sounds. I knew I was dying and turned to look at the fitness teacher who was earnestly attempting to help me. "This is it," I said. "I'm going to die." I remember puking on the floor and lying down on my back, seemingly accepting my fate. There was no longer any discomfort. The discomfort had been replaced by complete bliss, and I felt simply incredible. I could have stayed there forever since I was so at ease and pleased with my life. I then learned about my grandfather, who died in 2009. "Joe, you're going to be all right. Believe in me," he whispered as he held my head in his hands. "This has to happen right now. You'll just be fine." He never said those words. Rather, I felt the words being conveyed from him to me via his hands, which acted as a cushion to my head. My great-grandma was also present, hovering over my body, with her palm pulling towards me. She was implying that it wasn't my time and that I should stay. "Stay, child," she advised. My great-grandfather was also present, but I had the impression that it was more for my grandfather than for me. I felt at peace, cherished, safe, and protected. It's tough for me to put into words how I felt. It was full and utter ecstasy, with nothing but love surrounding me. I was floating, feeling everything and everyone around me. I was suddenly conscious of my actual body, yet I couldn't feel any discomfort. I could see everything and everyone around me, almost as if I were watching a video of what was going on. I was both sleepy and at peace. When I opened my eyes, the first thing I noticed was my stepfather's head silhouetted by a wall clock that read 4:10 p.m. I instantly realized that I must have passed out from the headache because the last time I looked at a clock, it was 10:55 a.m. It was Sunday, July 17, 2018, and I had been in the hospital for more than a day. My doctor and my parents both informed me the following. I was gone in less than 60 seconds after collapsing on the workout deck. Fortunately, there was a paramedic on the exercise deck right next to me. The paramedic shouldn't have been there on the official holiday, but she had stepped in at the last minute for a buddy. A defibrillator was only a few minutes away. A doctor from the United Kingdom passed by the exercise center. The ambulance station was just close to the resort, and an ambulance arrived in less than 4 minutes. I was given CPR and was hooked up to the defibrillator, which restarted my heart, and I was never deprived of oxygen. Due to my symptoms, the doctor suspected that I had a brain bleed, so when I arrived at the first hospital, I was immediately brought down for a scan, which verified this. I was then driven 3 hours across the country to meet my surgeon, who was on vacation on one of the islands. I was flown in to do my surgery, which he did without my mother's permission, because he couldn't reach her. This quick thinking saved my life. The surgeon threaded 3 coils through my leg's main artery, behind my heart and into my head, sealing the bleed. My battle was not done even if I was fixed. The next 72 hours were essential, according to my mother. There would be nothing they could do if I had another bleed. The degree of my brain injury was not yet established. I spent 7 days in intensive care. At the moment, I can only describe being in 2 locations at the same time. I was acutely aware of my grandfather's presence and felt inextricably linked to everything that existed. I knew without a doubt that I would be fine and that this event would have no negative consequences for me. This was the deepest feeling I had. I just knew I was going to walk out of the hospital fine and resume my normal and happy life. My stay in intensive care was bizarre. I was conscious of my mother and stepfather's presence on occasion, but I was also more somewhere than present. It was almost as if I could disconnect from my actual body while it healed from its tragedy. There was also no consideration of time. It was almost as if everything was happening at the same time. There was no time difference between days, hours, or minutes. Everything seemed to be all-encompassing. Finally, on day 8, I was transferred to a rehabilitation ward after the physicians freed me from intensive care. I was told that I would need medication for the rest of my life, since my headaches would be severe while my brain healed. However, I was confident that I would not experience any headaches or require any medication. My brain had entirely regenerated and I was healed. Over the next 3 days, I became acutely aware of myself and my creative abilities. I felt absolutely fantastic. I started drawing again, and it felt like I had a new lease on life. I listened to music and knew everything was okay. I knew everything I'd ever wanted was already mine, and all I had to do was let go and believe. I knew exactly how to do it for the first time in my life. I also realized that my negative feelings and thoughts about myself were causing my brain hemorrhage. It was my body's way of setting me free and liberating my soul. It was almost as if it was pointing out to me that the only thing standing in my way of happiness was me. I felt uplifted and joyous. I was also filled with love that all I wanted to do was adore everyone and everything around me. I knew without a doubt that my life had not been squandered before this experience, and it was now up to me to tell my story in order to inspire others. I need to share all of my terrible experiences with the world and turn them into positive ones for the benefit of others. On day 10, I walked out of the Croatian hospital with nothing wrong with me. The headaches that the physicians predicted never materialized. Since leaving intensive care, I haven't had a single headache of any type. When I left, the doctor who was caring for me sobbed. He added that it was unusual for him to have a good news story in his profession, but that I was out of the ordinary. When I returned to the UK, my doctor, as well as my friends and family, were all in awe of my recovery. I know without a doubt that I was saved to tell my tale. I am certain that I'm here to assist others and to help others reconnect with their actual selves and accept their own power. We are amazing, and it is up to me to spread the word. Furthermore, the universe truly has our back, and supernatural intervention is possible. All you need to do is read my tale. First and foremost, I should not have been in Croatia, yet I was. I was surrounded by everyone who could save my life. Linda, who wore the knee brace, was in Croatia at the same time as me because the universe knew it would prevent me from wakeboarding and so keep me out of the sea. It's wonderful, and I consider myself quite fortunate to have had this opportunity. I now understand that life is simply a reflection of our deepest ideas and feelings, and that we construct our own reality. It's been 3 months since my brain hemorrhage, and a lot has changed in my life. It hasn't all been peaches and cream. These days, I'm highly sensitive to other people's energies, so I avoid busy locations and seek serenity and solace in quiet places and with nature. I'm also less tolerant of folks who live solely for money gain, and I believe they're missing out on a large part of what life is all about. In addition, I have a strong connection to Mother Earth and find myself wanting to help heal both the earth and the people who live in it. In addition, I felt compelled to alter the name of my holistic firm, and I began writing my book. I am confident that my future is bright and that everything I require is on its way to me. As long as I serve for the best welfare of myself and others, I will be taken care of, and I'm looking forward to the next chapter of my life.